Hey, it's Laurie Lewis, the director, with another episode of the Before the Big Day podcast, YouTube edition. Before we get into today's episode, I'd like to remind you, please subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you know when a new episode is available. Also, give me a thumbs up so I know you got some really good wedding planning nuggets from this episode. This podcast is for all of you who are wedding planning, who are trying to avoid going into debt for your big day. And you need the advice from those who have firsthand knowledge and experience, those wedding industry professionals from across the country, and those real life couples who have been through what you're experiencing and want to share their testimonies. So without further ado, enjoy this episode. And I'll see you soon. Hello, everyone. It's Laurie Lewis, the director, with another episode of the Before the Big Day podcast. Excited as I always am, but especially excited to have in the guest chair today, Laurie Underwood of Laury Bride, which has been featured all across the nation, the world, in Moonalucci, on The Knot, all across social media. My previous guest, Reverend Catrice Kirk McKenzie, actually wore one of your fashions. So, Laurie, I'm just excited to have you in the guest chair today. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I didn't even realize you were from the Metro Detroit area until I saw your interview you did on Live in the D.
Absolutely. That's hometown. That's where all of my family lives. Born and raised. So yeah, I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Awesome. Well, welcome back to the D. So virtually, of course. So tell me about Laury Bride. How, obviously your first name is Laurie. Your brand is Laury Bride, but there's a little difference in the spelling. So how did Laury Bride come about? I know you were on Project Runway, but just curious as to the different spelling.
Well, just a little backstory about myself and designing. I started designing some years ago, and I started a line called Wanda Grace. And Wanda Grace was a ready-to-wear line for women who have to work but love to play. So pieces that can easily transfer into the night after work. And Wanda was my middle name. Never wanted a brand name that was directly my name. I kind of just wanted to have my own identity when it came to business. So fast forward, I went to Project Runway. And as you know, so many different challenges. And when I was eliminated from the show, I had time to sit and think because, of course, I could not come straight home. So I had time to sit and think with four walls. And I said, you know what? I want another challenge when it's time for me to go back home. I've always said, I will never design evening gowns or bridal. But out of nowhere, I took the chance and said, you know what, I'm going to go into bridal. But if I go into bridal, it has to be on my own terms. I didn't want to do the usual mermaid bling gowns that a lot of brides wear. And I said, I love fashion, I love style. So I have to be able to implement those ideas that I love into this industry for myself, or it won't work. So that's what I did. I started Laury Bride, and again, using my name, but not directly my name. I thought, well, how can I design a name that says Laurie, but it does not say Laurie, Laurie?
Okay.
And I just added the Y. I just added the Y, and I was like, oh my God, I love it. I have experience with graphic design. So I was playing around. And once I started just writing the letters, it was just like, this is it. So that's how Laury Bride came about.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Being a Laurie, I love all the variations. So yeah, beautiful. So at what point, so it wasn't from Project Runway. So what was the point that it really started getting out, or was there a particular bride that really um, put it out there or published?
You know what? When I started designing, I was still trying to find who I was in this bridal industry, still trying to um, create my own path. That was about 2017. And I was working at the time. I was going back and forth, commuting to and from work, and I was listening to my favorite podcast, which is Side Hustle Pro.
Yes, mine
And
too.
yes, right.
Else we
So I
haven't.
was listening.
Love
I
it.
was listening to Side Hustle Pro, and I remember listening to the founder of Mona Lucci, Jackie. I remember listening to her interview,
Mhm.
and I said, I'm going to be in Mona Lucci magazine one day. Don't know when, don't know how. I know I'm just going to be in Mona Lucci's magazine one day. Fast forward to September of that year, and this was 2017 um, or 2018, maybe 2018. I can't get my dates right, but it was recently.
Okay.
Fast forward to September of that year, I got a call from Mona Lucci asking if I wanted to sign up to be a part of their coterie, and I was super excited. Um, but previously, my publicist Tia from Love Publicity, she had reached out to them years prior about this opportunity. I just never followed up with it. Just things got in the way. But this time, I was just like, yes, like I'm saying yes to this. So I signed up, became a member of the coterie, and probably 3 or 4 weeks later, I got an email from a stylist that was working a photo shoot for Mona Lucci, asking if I would be able to offer some of my styles for a style shoot that they were doing in Chicago. And the cover girl was Lovey Ajayi here in Chicago. I'm
Right.
very familiar with Lovey. So I was super excited. I knew Lovey just from working with her with the Red Pump project in the past. And this was the most stressful time for me because I was so nervous. I just wanted everything to be perfect. I was in the studio all night working on a design, not pieces that they asked for. I was like, I'm working on a design. So I'm panicking, just stressed, being your own worst critic. Like, this isn't good enough. Should I do this? Should I do that? And at some point, I was just like, walk away and just say all is well. So
Yes.
I walked away, all is well. I went to the photo shoot that month, and the entire Mona Lucci team was there. The stylist was there, the hairstylist, everyone. So I was like, well, I'm going to drop my pieces off and leave. And they're like, no, you can stay, you can stay. So I stayed, and I made myself the assistant. I'm humble enough to say, like, look, stylist, like, what you need help with?
Right.
I was putting other pieces, other dresses on, helping the stylist get that on Lovey with the accessories and everything. Just wanting to be in this space. And I don't think a lot of people knew that I was the designer of the dress that Lovey was wearing of mine. Because again, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's really pretty. Just sitting in the corner somewhere. And the dress was beautiful. And it turned out to be the cover photo for Mona Lucci's fall issue that year.
Yeah.
And I was just so humble and grateful. I feel like I manifested the opportunity just hearing Jackie's interview, hearing her words of inspiration, and saying, one day I'm going to be in her magazine. I'm going to be in Mona Lucci magazine.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, you know, inside the magazine, but God always has a bigger plan, and that plan was the cover.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
trusting the process and being grateful for each and every opportunity, and humbling yourself where you can be the assistant. You don't have to be the this hot designer. This is, what I'm saying. So
Absolutely.
So yeah, so once that cover came out, then I feel like that was the moment for me.
Awesome. Yep. Manifestation. Speak it until it comes to fruition. I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So take us through, a potential bride's process in contacting you because no two bridal tour is the same, and I know Reverend Patrice, when she was on, she explained her process, and oh my gosh, her bridal gown was just beautiful, right? Because I'm really into, it was Cinderella, but it was modern, right? And it
Yeah.
fit her. So how does that process work? And I know it was a little different during COVID, but how does the process
Mhm.
even begin?
Well, it first starts online. I will say this, before COVID, I was doing a lot of virtual appointments.
Okay.
A lot of my brides come from out of state.
Okay.
Chicago's not my hometown, so you don't really have that. I don't want to say comfortability, but you know how such and such is mom, cousin, sister, like they can all get in contact with you. I don't really have that in Chicago. So I've learned to market myself in other places because this is not my home. So it starts online. I have two types of consultations. I have a 15-minute chat before you decide on a consultation call. And on that call, we go through my process, telling me a little bit about what you're looking for. And, I give some advice, some encouragement too, because these calls can go longer than 15 minutes. I get brides that are like, I haven't found my dress yet. Is it too late? I don't know if I should buy off the rack or get custom. So we really just dive into that before they make a decision on custom. I tell my brides, like, when you go custom and you're trying on for the fitting, you're trying on for the final fitting or what have you, there's no putting back on the rack. So you have to be ready to come into the custom space. If you've gone to the bridal stores and you don't see anything that's out there for you and you know exactly what you want, then custom is for you. I even encourage my brides to go to the bridal stores, try on silhouettes of dresses that you want to wear for your wedding day, because you can have a bride that says, Lori, I want to wear a mermaid gown on my wedding day and I want it custom designed. Okay, but first, before we go through that process, go to the bridal salons and try um, a mermaid gown on and see how that looks on your body type. Because, like I said, once you put that mermaid custom gown on, there's no putting back on the rack. And I get brides who come back and say, the mermaid silhouette isn't for me. I like the A line or I like the ball gown. So I
Yeah.
really encourage that during the process. And I don't want to take the entire experience away from brides. So I'm like, go have fun. Go to the stores with your mom, your sisters, your bridesmaids. And then if you can't find anything, then come back and we can discuss your custom options. So that is my process with my 15-minute chat before you decide. And most of my brides do come back. I have had some brides who said, Lori, I found a dress, and I am okay with that. The most important thing is that you find what you want to wear on your wedding day.
Yes.
Um, and so when they come back, they book a full consultation. And in that consultation, um, we talk about your design proposal, which is developed before the consultation.
Mm.
So let me just kind of go back because this is just a long process. But before the consultation, I set up a secret pinning process with the bride so that we can both get on one accord as far as her style and my design aesthetics.
Okay.
Because you have some brides that want a Beyonce dress for their wedding day. They want what someone else wore for their wedding day, a celebrity style.
Right.
I don't copy styles.
Okay.
Just as a designer, that just kind of disinfects my integrity.
Yeah.
So we have to be in collaboration with each other. It's not just me designing your look.
Yeah.
I want your style and my design aesthetic to collaborate with one another so that we can get the perfect look for you.
Hmm. Makes sense to me. I mean, so do you ever, so eventually they have to come to you, right? In Chicago?
Now, um, I have some brides who will come,
Okay.
and I have some brides who will not come.
Okay.
And so during that process, if they don't come, we have a lot of virtual appointments, a
Right.
measurement fitting. I'm mirroring myself or a dress form or a model so that she's measuring, making sure we get the right measurements.
Okay.
Um, we do fittings virtually.
Okay.
Um, I always include return labels in my packages, the mock dresses, final dresses, so that if there are alterations, all the bride has to do is put it back in the box and give it to the postal man. I
Nice.
don't want her having to pay for additional shipping. Like, I just don't want her to have that stress,
Right.
you
Right.
know, especially when it comes to alterations or, Lori, I don't like this sleeve, or can we do something with this? Okay, put it
Right.
back in the box and I'll get it back out to you. So,
So you literally are drawing the bride's design. Like you literally are, and whatever you use, whether, paper and pencil or you have it on a computer, for every bride, you're actually sketching a custom dress for them.
yes, I'm sketching a design proposal, and within the consultation, um, the consultation fee is $100.
Hmm.
And with that comes the bride's own design portal that lives on LaurieBride.com.
Wow.
So, Lori, if you were getting married, you would be able to go to LaurieBride.com/Lori 2021,
God.
log in with your own passcode that I give you, and you'll be able to see your inspiration, a link to the Pinterest board that we've pinned to during the process. You'll
Right.
also get to see the design proposal. You'll be able to download it. Your swatches are on there. Whenever you need to make an appointment, it's just a personal portal for the bride to have as a virtual bride, as a bride on the go. You don't really want to take that experience away from them. And when I was developing my brand, I was trying to come up with an experience for the bride. Okay, most of my brides are out of state. How can I create a non-physical experience? Excuse me, a non-physical experience that the bride can have memories that last forever.
I love
So,
that. I love that.
yeah, thank you.
Yes, love that. So let's get into, some may not know, but even though you've posted on social media, you have started your own wedding planning journey, if you will. So I
That takes a lot of breath.
let me just preface it with this because my son is getting married next year, and
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
thanks. And they're eloping, but of course, me being a wedding coordinator, I want to give them a small reception, and I'm having the hardest time making decisions. And I'm like, but I
Oh,
do this
wow.
for us.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if you're having that same type of dilemmas. Like you're so close to the industry, is it making it a little challenging?
Well, it is. First of all, I am a DIY bride. Um, I always figured that I would be, just because it's my creative outlet to work with my hands.
Mhm.
Growing up, I was every Saturday with my mother and her business partner at weddings, setting up tables. My mother is a wedding coordinator, and her partner was the designer. So I kind of grew up in weddings, not knowing that I would one day be designing wedding dresses, but everything comes full circle. And
Yes.
now I know why I was there every Saturday, upset that I had to work with
Wow.
my mom at 9 and 10 years old. Like, can I go home?
Right. Right.
But my mother had me in that space, and I'm very grateful for that.
Mhm.
But I always knew I wanted to be that DIY bride, just watching my mother and her business partner just work with their hands and be creative. So that's what I decided to do. Um, Sometimes I feel like I bit off more than I could chew, but I just pace myself, and I have my project planning system that works. And Pinterest has been my very best
Okay.
friend. Pinterest and YouTube. They tell you how to do everything when it comes to wedding planning. Um, and I try not to be so critical when it comes to how everything's gonna pan out. I think if you just take it one day at a time, and focus on not being a bridezilla, because that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to project that negative energy into the space of creating your wedding.
Right.
So, I just always say all is well, and take it one day at a time.
Got it. Got it. So you're obviously designing your own gown, of course, right?
Yes, I designed my own gown. It is done. I actually have a couple of pieces to choose from. So when designing my dress, it was the hardest thing ever to do. I can easily design for a bride, a client, based off her style and my design aesthetic, but
Right.
I just kept second guessing myself every time I would sketch something out. And I think in the beginning, I was trying to design something that everyone else would love.
Mhm.
And I think as brides, a lot of us try to wear something that everyone else would love. But when you just dig deeper and go within, you're like, okay, what's going to make me happy? Regardless of what, anyone has to say, what's going to make me happy? And so that's what I decided to do. Just wear something that's going to make Lori and Damon, my fiance, happy,
Yeah.
and leave it at that. So I'm very happy with the final product, and I can't wait for my family and friends to see.
Yes. I know you're gonna share on social media after the big.
Yes, I am. I am. So we'll see.
I'm so excited. Congratulate. I do have to ask this most important question though. You do have a day of coordinator, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do have a day of coordinator. That's something I would definitely not do. Unfortunately, though, I do have um, the bossy personality. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just no shame like that.
We'll
I do have that. So I will have to meditate and pray a few days before, and say, Lori, just sit back, relax. They got this.
and enjoy.
So
Enjoy the
yeah, and enjoy so that I can remember the memories that were made on that day.
Absolutely. So tell me, what's the future for Laurie Bride? I know we didn't really talk about it, but I know just in visiting your website, you do have some pieces that are like, I don't know if this is the right word, but stock, right? Like if you want this top and this bottom, that's
Yes.
something that is. Are you going to expand that line? I saw also you've entered into the jewelry. So what else can we expect from Laurie Bride?
I will be expanding on my interchangeables collection. I love the idea that the bride can have multiple looks on her wedding day, moderately priced. She doesn't have to worry about if her rent or her mortgage is going to get paid after her wedding because she spent thousands and thousands of dollars on her wedding dress.
Right, right.
And more so because a lot of brides are just kind of bypassing the big mushy of dresses. They want something that's practical, functional, something that speaks to their style. So I will continue to add pieces to my interchangeable collection. As far as accessories, I am also I'm also planning on expanding on that as well. I want to be able to not only dress my bride, but style my bride with
Okay.
earrings, shoes, the veil. I kind of wanted to just be a one-stop experience for her. So that's what the future of Laurie Bride looks like. Just trying to create a well established brand as a Black woman in bridal. It's not easy for us, but it's not hard for us.
Yeah.
Seeing that we're in social media times, it's easy for us to really get out there and show our work and impress people. So I do want my brand to grow. That's the plan, growth. So I'm always thinking about what's next and what's ahead.
Absolutely. And so are you think you'll stay in the Chicago area? Is that going to be your hub?
Yes, Chicago is it. I'm getting married here. I got kids.
Okay.
This is it. I would like to see a store in my hometown, Detroit, but that's far in the future. So that's what I would love to see. That's like my little girl imagination vision. So
Absolutely. Wow. Congratulations on everything.
thank you so much.
Your upcoming wedding. Thank you for just spending the time. If you just give your social media website real quick so listeners can log in and schedule those consultations and follow you, if you could provide that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, absolutely. I am online at lauriebride.com. That's Laurie, Laury, bride.com. And you can find me on Instagram where I'm always playing at Laurie Bride. That's LauryBride.
Awesome. And are you on Pinterest at all? Or
I'm on Pinterest. I don't look at Pinterest as a follow type app. I am just on there for like work. When it's time for me to work
Mhm.
and I have all of my tabs up, Pinterest is one of my tabs. It's like a working app for me. But I am on Pinterest at Laurie Bride. And when I see followers on Pinterest, I'm like, where these followers come
Right.
from? So yeah, I am on Pinterest as well.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much for sharing this time with me and sharing that information. I know my listeners, my audience will be really into what you provided, especially that whole shopping, bridal gown shopping experience, because
Yes.
the retail shops isn't everyone's choice, right? So,
No, no,
yeah. So,
it's not. It's such a interesting space, even as Black brides going into certain retail stores.
mhm,
It's a challenge for us.
yeah,
And then you have a lot of Black brides, we are curvy. Again, it's a challenge for us.
yeah,
So as a Black woman, I want to be able to provide exactly what the bride needs. I service all types of brides, but my main target market is women of color.
yes. And thank you. You've carved out that niche. So I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. So I'll be one of your active followers following you on this journey, and I can't wait to see the big reveal. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And to those who've been listening or watching, thank you for supporting the podcast. Make sure to comment below or leave us a thumbs up. And until next time, be well.